This is hands down the weirdest relationship drama I've ever heard. My boyfriend and I decided moved in together for quarantine. Everything has gone well. We both work from home and have barely left the apartment. We've split the chores, have a cooking schedule that we mostly follow, and even coordinated alone time with each other. Well, last week, during his alone time, my boyfriend captured 5 of the ducklings that live around our apartment. He claims their mother was nowhere nearby. I have a hard time believing this, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. When he showed me the ducks, I expressed my concern. I told him that ducklings grow fast and we will overrun our apartment plus carry germs. He said that he gave them baths when he brought them in. When I asked to contain them to one area, he refused, saying that they deserve just as much space as us. He said he is welcoming them into our family and will treat them as equals. Apparently, this includes turning our heater to 85 degrees. He has also spread old newspapers all across our apartment and put down water dishes that constantly get spilled. I've stepped on their food more than a few times and have resorted to wearing shoes 24/7 to avoid grain in between my toes. I know I should have put my foot down when he first brought them in, but he's been so bored with staying in that I thought it would be okay for him to amuse himself for a while. I figured it wouldn't be long before he released them. I was wrong. He's attached to the ducklings and has named the ducks to honor their connection to the earth. They are called Twig, Bumble, Seed, Sprout, and Pebble. If I call one duck, he gets upset and says I am disrespecting it. When I mix up the names, he gets frustrated, saying that I should know that Pebble is mostly brown, with a few yellow spots throughout, while Seed is much lighter than the rest. But to me, they all look the same. He's kept his word about cleaning up after the ducks, but our utility bills have gone up from the constant heat and how often he washes blankets. Nowhere is safe from poop except the closet, and one of the ducks has been poking its head between the accordion doors. It's only a matter of time before they get in by accident. When I pointed this out, he started talking about how proud he was of Bumble for being so smart. This morning, I woke up to one of the ducks on my chest. Apparently, my boyfriend set up a ramp to the bed after I was asleep so that his babies could experience true comfort. I completely exploded. I told him that he is a grown man who has no other hobbies except worshipping poultry that are incapable of caring about him. He told me I was being overdramatic and that he has been on top of caring for the ducks and I had no room to criticize him for saving innocent ducklings. He's been ignoring me all day and I overheard him venting to a couple of the ducks about my behavior. I feel bad for exploding on him. The ducks are annoying, but he's right that he's been taking care of them. So, am I the asshole for calling him out? Or is this dude the leader of a duck cult? Comment your verdict below, hit like if you think she should run, and subscribe for more wild Reddit stories. Imagine finding out your beloved grandma's ashes were actually just a can of Nescafe. Yeah, that's exactly what I did to get revenge on my greedy family. Let me explain. Am I the asshole for replacing my late grandmother's ashes with instant coffee to get revenge on my family? Okay, hear me out. I have always been the black sheep of my family. My parents and siblings treat me like the family failure because I didn't become a doctor or lawyer like they did. Instead, I ran a pretty successful online business selling custom sneakers, but to them, I might as well be selling rocks. The final straw came when my grandmother, who actually supported me, passed away. In her will, she left me her house, while the rest of my family got money. My family lost it. They tried everything. Emotional blackmail, legal threats, even breaking into the house to reclaim what's rightfully theirs. But the real drama, they wanted my grandma's ashes. My mom and aunts planned this big sentimental spreading of the ashes ceremony, acting like they loved her more than anyone. The same people who ignored her for years unless they needed money. Meanwhile, I was the only one visiting her weekly, running errands for her, and actually spending time with her. So when they demanded the urn for their little dramatic show, I gave it to them. Sort of. Was this the ultimate petty justice or a straight-up villain move? Drop A if you think they had it coming, or if they took it too far. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more wild Reddit stories.
Am I the asshole for not participating in my friend's scheme to convince a restaurant to buy his ketchup? My friend, Zoltar, fake name, has been obsessed with ketchup ever since I met him. He is always trying out different recipes to make his own ketchup and getting me and all our friends to try them. Recently, he made his best ketchup yet. I tried it. It wasn't bad. It was ketchup. Now he has decided he is finally going to break into the ketchup game. He is convinced he is going to launch his own ketchup company and grow it to be one of the top providers of ketchup in the US. He literally has a photo of Heinz ketchup on a dartboard. He throws darts at it and mutters things like, "I'm coming for you." Anyways, he has a scheme he wants me and others to participate in. Essentially, it involves us all going to a restaurant, sitting at different tables, and enacting lines from a scene he wrote that will culminate in all of us trying and loving his ketchup and convincing the manager to buy it. He wants us all to memorize lines. The gist of it is one guy is supposed to call over a waitress and say he likes the French fries but hates the ketchup. I'm supposed to lean over from another table and say, sorry to butt in, haha, but I have to agree. I'm tired of this old-fashioned, factory-produced ketchup. Where's the real tomato flavor? After a few other people do this, my friend is going to say, you guys won't believe this, but I am a ketchup chef, and I have a few samples. Would you want to give it a shot? At this point, everyone is supposed to try the ketchup and act astounded by it, and basically all exclaim, it is the best ketchup they ever had. I'm supposed to stand up on my table and make a trumpet sound effect, and then yell to the entire restaurant, we have the best ketchup ever made over here. Everyone come on over. One of the other people is supposed to get the manager of the place over, and we are all supposed to try to convince him or her to buy an order of my friend's ketchup. He is going to act surprised and embarrassed and try to tell us to stop putting this poor guy on the spot in regards to the manager. He then assumes he will make a huge sale. Then he wants to do this same operation at other places in town. I told him, no way am I doing this. I hate public speaking, acting, and having attention focused on me. Also, the idea is just so fucking dumb and crazy to me. I told him that straight up. He acted offended and said I am ruining his dreams. I am astounded by this, but some of my friends agree and think he is showing hustle, and that we should all help him launch his ketchup business. Aside from his ketchup obsession, Zoltar is one of my best friends, but it seems our friendship is being ruined. A lot of people are telling me I am a jerk for going against his dream and not helping out. Subscribe for more at Best of Reddit Hub.
Lucifer? I just got a puppy. Originally, he was gendered as female, and the shelter-given name was Lucy. He replied to it, so I kept it. A few weeks later, I found out he was a boy, but he already responded to his name, so I jokingly just lengthened it to Lucifer, and I call him Lucy. He's a GSD Roddy mix, so he sorta looks like what you'd expect hellhounds to. The issue comes in with my father. He is a priest, and has been since I was a kid. He doesn't like dogs anyway. In his opinion, dogs are the devil's animal. I grew up with cats. As the opposite of dogs, they were obviously the opposite of hell, so heaven's animals. And so when they found out I was getting a dog, he prayed for me, yada yada. I never really believed in all the Jesus stuff, and if you ask anyone, my dog is named after Lucifer from the show, not the literal devil, because to me he doesn't exist. Plus my girlfriend is a witch, so I'm basically as far from Christianity as one can get. Anyway, my sister saw a post on Instagram where I used his full name. No big deal. Well, I thought it wasn't. My mom called me, sobbing, saying I'd been preyed upon and I needed to get rid of my dog immediately. After a while, I explained he hadn't forced me to give him that name. Because he's a dog, all he knows is poop on mom's floor and eat her expensive shoes. And I chose it for him. Since then, they have been begging for me to change it. It's a name, so I'm thinking it's pretty funny. Besides, Satanism doesn't sound that bad. Jokes aside, it's getting really serious. Like, my dad showed up to baptize my dog kind of serious. I told him to fuck off and told them they were all blowing it was out of proportion. My girlfriend thinks we should just change his name to appease them, and I am thinking we may have to, but I really don't want to. He's my dog, and I should be allowed to name him whatever the fuck I want. So tell me, am I the asshole, or is my dad really out here trying to save my hellhound's soul? What would you name him instead? Drop your best dog names below.
Subscribe for more at Best of Reddit Hub.
Today, I fucked up by throwing my steak out a window. Last night, my wife's boss from her brand new job invited us over for dinner. On the drive over, my wife reiterated many times to me just how important it was to make a good impression. I scoffed and arrogantly informed my silly wife that I always make good impressions. My wife's boss is a single lady in her 50s, so it was just the three of us. We chit-chatted over drinks and salads and seemed to really be hitting it off. She laughed at my well-timed, perfectly appropriate jokes, and my wife seemed pleased. Soon she brought out the main course, a nice big juicy steak for each of us. As I began to cut into my steak, I was discouraged to discover how undercooked this steak was. Now, I've had my fair share of rare steak. I prefer medium, but I can handle rare. This was several minutes on a hot grill short of rare. I probably could have resuscitated the cow had I tried. Instead, I sat there fidgeting with my knife and fork, worrying about how I was going to get away with not eating this steak. Claim veganism? No, I'd already feigned great enthusiasm upon seeing the steak. Just then, our hostess excused herself to the kitchen to take care of some dessert preparations. As I looked across the fancy dining room table at the open window of this third-story apartment, a cartoon light bulb appeared over my head. I knew I had to be decisive, realizing that she could return at any moment. I committed. I grabbed the steak with my hand, gently shook off the juice, and executed a perfect throw right through the center of the open window. Here's the big time fuck up. The window wasn't open. It was the cleanest freaking window you've ever seen in your life. That is, until my mostly raw slab of steak slammed up against it and slowly slid down, leaving a trail of bloody juice in its wake. My wife, whose steak was a nice medium rare and was unaware of my predicament, turned, jaw dropped, and stared at me like I was an alien from another planet. This look then slowly morphed into more of a "there is no place on this planet you can ever hide from me" expression of demonic anger. My wife's boss heard the thud of the steak on window impact and came quickly. She took in the scene, the steak sitting on the windowsill, the blood trail, my empty plate, and then gave me an inquisitive, puzzled look. I just didn't know what to say. It felt like a minute of silence, but was probably 3 or 4 seconds. Finally, the best I could manage was, I'm so sorry, I am such a klutz. I don't know, I was just cutting it. And it slipped. Just ask my wife, I really am a klutz. Right, honey? No help coming from that direction. I will clean this up. I can't believe this. I am so sorry, etc., etc. Both women continued to stare at me like I had escaped from the loony bin as I smeared the blood around the window with my cloth napkin, dusted off the steak, and continued to mutter my incoherent explanation. I knew no one was buying the story. I knew what I had to do. I sheepishly returned to my seat and proceeded to eat every bite of that disgusting, cold, chewy, bloody, raw steak. I remained pretty quiet the rest of the evening. My wife's only 2 words to me since the incident are, "I'm fine." If you cringed even a little, smash that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories.